Happy Valentino.
When I get up all in ya, we can hear the angels calling us. And we can see the sunrise before us. And when I'm in that thing, I make that body say,
I mean, like a cop call. Hey,
I make it sing.
throwing the buck in the latest drop. I got stopped by a lady cop. She got me thinking I could date a cop. Cause her uniform pants were so tight. She read me my rights. She put me in a call. She cut off all the lights. She said I have the right to remain silent. Now I gotta holler, sounding like a siren. Talking about yeah, yeah, yeah. And I know she the law, and she know I'm the ball, and she know I get high, above the law, and she know I'm raw. She know I'm from the street, and all she want me to do is f the police. Talking about yeah, yeah.
When I get up all in ya, we can hear the angels calling us. We can see the sunrise before us. And when I'm in that thing, I make that body say, I make it say,
Yeah, like a cop call. Yeah, hey.
I make it say.
And after we got done, I said, lady, what's your number? She said 911. Emergency only. Head doctor perform surgery on me. Yeah, and now I'm healed. I make her wear nothing but handcuffs and heels. Then I beat it like a cop. Rodney King, baby, yeah, I beat it like a cop. Beat it like a cop. Rodney King, baby, say I beat it like a cop. But I ain't trying to be violent, but I do the time, but her love is timeless. Mrs. Officer, I know you wish your name was Mrs. Calder, Yeah.
What is good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode brought to you by the League FFB. It is back, another Friday Q&A, and I was feeling a little bit of 2000 Lil Wayne. I see we got some people in the chat here early. Trap, Six Rings, RSG mostly. RSG says nothing beats 0506 Wayne, and Six Rings says like a cop car. Shout out Trap for being first too, by the way. Look, we're here for a fantasy Q&A. That's what we're doing tonight. As always, we do have a like goal. Now, last Tuesday, or I guess this just previous stream, it was on Tuesday night, somebody said, Andrew, what is it going to take to get you to get up live on stream and hit the gritty for the chat? I said it's going to have to be 100 likes. I said 100 likes is going to be what it takes. If we can hit 100 likes tonight, I will gritty live on stream for y'all because that's what you requested. It is what it is. But that is the like goal. So if you want to hit that like button. If you want to see that, hit the like button. Also, if you guys want to go above and beyond, the best way to support this channel is by subscribing and going over and joining on Underdog. New customers who sign up using promo code LeagueFFB and play $5 will get $100 in bonus funds. So that is a incentive to support this show. Like I said, it does truly help support us. So I'd appreciate everybody doing that if you could. Everybody else who's in the chat, I see you right now. Bradley, mostly, AK. Let's get it, man. Let's just get right into the questions. And I see the first question that I had here was from Mostly, who says 12-team Superflex Dynasty start 9. Would you trade Barkley plus a mid to late 26 second for Olave and ETN? It's not a bad deal. I think the second and ETN is probably somewhat fair right there. Barkley for Olave, I think it depends on the team structure. If you're playing for the future, I think it's a good selling point here for Barkley. So I'm not opposed to it. I think the value's fine. It's not bad by any means. Just depends on the direction of your team. If you're contending, I'd rather have Barkley. But if you're anything else, I think you can have the argument for Olave. Let's go to Robert, who says, Dynasty PPR, do I trade Garrett Wilson for Pickens in a 26 second? That's an interesting question. I still like Garrett Wilson more as a player, but it's hard to knock the production that Pickens has had. I think there's a true argument right now to take the bonus if the 26 second is anywhere in the early side. I think that's what I'm going to need to make the trade happen. So if it's Pickens in an early second, I'm down. If it's not, I'd rather have Garrett Wilson. Ken says, how about those Texans? So much for people doubting them this week, huh? They have to be top 10 in rankings rest of season, right? Potentially. Look, we have a pick'em league here with the Discord, and I chose the Bills. I think like most people did, I chose the Bills. I was riding with Josh Allen. But yeah, the Texans defense was legit last night, and I think they truly are a team that people could be looking at as a sneaky contender. I don't think they're a Super Bowl contender, but a sneaky contender because of the defense. We need Stroud to get upright, and we need Stroud to, play a little bit of better football. What's up, Sports Zone? Appreciate you being here tonight. AK says, start one running back and one flex in a full PPR. Judkins, Genty, Flowers, Metcalf, J-Mo. I'm looking at these running backs right here, and in my running back rankings this week, I do have Genty over Judkins. So I'm probably going to be playing Genty in the running back spot. Am I going to play Judkins or am I going to play one of the wide receivers? I think the wide receiver I'd be looking at would probably be Flowers. I think I'm going to play Flowers. So give me Genty and Flowers here for the start one running back and start one flex. What's up, Brad? Appreciate you being here. Mostly says, would it be better to trade Barkley in that 26 second for Javonte and Devonta Smith? I think I might like that one better than the Olave and ETN deal. I think I like Javonte more long-term than ETN right now. And Devontae and Olave feel fairly close. Dak versus the Eagles or Daniel Jones against Kansas City. I'm probably going to be rocking with... it's tough. It's tough defenses for both of them. I think I'm going to lean with Dak here, though. Dak's going to be my play. What do we got here? Start one tight end in a full PPR. Juwan Johnson, K. Dotton, or Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry is going to be my tight end play. I have Hunter Henry in the top 3 tight ends this week against Cincinnati. I think it should be a opportunity for him to kind of give us a big game here. So it's going to be Hunter Henry for me in this one. Who would you start this week if I already had a bad Thursday with Rico and Woody? Goff, Burrow, or Scoop Shador? I mean, the high upside play would be Burrow if he plays. If not, I'm definitely going Goff over Shador. So I think it's probably going to be Burrow for the high upside play, and if he doesn't play, it's going Goff. Bet you wish the Vikings traded up to get May over 9. Yeah, I mean, I was definitely during the draft process, pre-draft process, May was the quarterback that I wanted the most. They did offer quite a hefty offer, is what I remember. I think it was like 3 firsts to go get it, and New England, I think rightfully so, said no. And other than that, though, I mean, I'm not shading 9. I think 9's still fine. Still just obviously a little bit more of a developmental guy who needs to kind of get some help. But we'll see what happens, man. It's still early in the career for 9. Ayuk will be out of San Francisco soon. Is it too late to trade him away, or is he a hold in Dynasty? He's a hold right now. You can't get shit for Brandon Ayuk right now. So I'm probably not going to be trading him at the moment. I have him on a few teams right now, and I'm just holding until we see something change. Hopefully he's a player that can land in a better situation. Maybe New England, maybe a Washington Commanders. If he gets out, that's when I would probably look to trade him after the Niners move on from him. But I agree with you. I don't know if he's going to be in San Francisco much longer. In Dynasty, I'm currently a playoff team, not top 4. I'm a contender. Trade Neighbors to get Marks and Rice. I would rather have Neighbors still. So I'm probably still going to have him there. You're a playoff team. You said you're not a top 4 contender, so I'd still rather keep the best Dynasty piece, and to me, that's Neighbors. Patriots, the AFC 1 seed. It's looking that way. Man, and I don't know. We'll see what happens, man. Playoff football is different. No knock on the Patriots. They've been playing some good football this year. But the schedule's been really, really easy for them. It's going to be interesting to see what happens as this team gets into the playoffs. Does Drake May, elevate? Or are we kind of seeing a little bit of when, Stroud goes to the playoffs and Daniels goes to the playoffs, where the young guy kind of needs to get that gut check in the NFL playoffs before they make the real run. It's going to be interesting to see. Like I said, I'm not knocking the Patriots. I think they've been playing some great football this year. Trying to lose this week, playing Sanders, a good move. I'm not super high on Sanders in my rankings. I have him currently right now as my quarterback 27. Got him right around the Kirk Cousins and Cam Ward range this week, so not very high. 8-team full PPR start 7. Any moves I should make before the deadline tonight? May, Judkins, Genty, Gibbs, Harvey, Diggs, Igbuka, Metcalf, Flowers, Waddle, J-Mo, Bucky, Otten. Am I set for the playoffs? I'm 5-6 right now, but will make playoffs because it's a 16 playoff anyways. Okay, I mean, I'm looking at the team for an 8-team league. I think the running back room is good. I would like to see a better wide receiver room in an 8-man league. The wide receiver room is certainly the weakest point here. I'm probably looking to try and upgrade that one. You have Judkins, Genty, Gibbs, Harvey, and Bucky on this team. I'm trying to use one of the running backs and one of the wide receivers to upgrade and get a true number 1. That's probably the way that I would go. But the wide receiver room for an 8-man league is fairly soft. And I would also say the tight end position feels a little soft for an 8-man league, but you're super heavy at running back, so you have some ammunition to use. Which wide receiver would you target if you were wanting to trade away Franklin Watson for an upgrade of the position? I don't know. I think it's tough to tell. I say this all the time when people say, like, who should I trade for? It's every league market is different. I think in that range, like, could you go for an upside play of like a Jaden Reed if you think he's an upgrade? Could you go to a Josh Downs if you think he's an upgrade? Like, there's a bucket of players there that you can go for, but I think the best thing to do if you're trying to look for the upgrade is probably try and trade a Franklin or a Watson for a second and then tack something on top of a second later to upgrade down the road. So that's probably something that I'm trying to do, is make 2 moves, because it's hard to go just straight up wide receiver for wide receiver and get the upgrade. That's always very hard to do in the trade room. If Burrow plays, do I rock with him or play Dak and rest of season? I think rest of season, you're probably going to lean Joe Burrow if, you know, when he's healthy and back into the lineup. For this week, I probably would lean Joe Burrow this week too if he plays over Dak. I need Packers defense to suck, so I hope your Vikings offense shows up. You and me both, buddy. You and me both. Mosley says, I have Tootin, by the way, on that Barkley trade, which is why I was going to target ETN if that changes anything. I don't think you need to. I think right now you need to look at that backfield a little bit more constructively, where you have a guy in Tootin who's earning more touches currently, actively, as we speak. And then you have Travis Etienne, who's going to be a free agent in the offseason. Yes, that means you could maybe get 2 starting running backs in this deal for the price of, you know, having the one backfield. But if you believe in Tootin and you're already betting on Tootin, why would you hedge it with Etienne, who already looks like he's losing that battle and potentially on his way out of the door? So that's kind of the way that I would be thinking about that right there. What do we got? Trap says, I got a second for Ayuk a month ago or 2 ago. It felt gross, but now I think it's about the right value-wise. I think he's been sitting at a second value-wise probably for months now, and I don't think he's ever going to fall into that third value bucket, at least not. I can't imagine anybody who's holding Ayuk is going to sell for a third. So he's kind of stuck in the second round. I would be okay, I think, moving on for a second. If somebody gave me a second, I think I'd listen on the right teams. But it's just hard to find any buyers for Ayuk right now. That's why he's a hold to me. Fantasy Football Fanatic says, trying to consolidate players for some upgrades. Do you think Genty, Diggs, and Odunze is a fair trade for Saquon and Rice? I think it's fair. It's definitely a fair trade. Genty and Saquon to me are players that I would view somewhat similar rest of season, and Rice is an upgrade to the other guys, but Diggs is no slouch as the throw-in to get up, you know, into the next one. So I think it's a fair trade. This is a good deal. And if you're trying to consolidate it, I like it for you. Rice or London rest of season? It's Rice for me. I'd rather have Rice rest of season. 10-team standard league. Start 2 wide receivers and 1 flex. Rice, Igbuka, Henderson, Jettas, Diggs, or T. Higgins. In a standard league, no PPR, this one gets tough. I think I'm going to lean here with Henderson as the flex. But then for the wide receivers, this is where the question gets a lot tougher. I think I'm going to go with Rashi and T, though. I like the matchup for Rashi against Indianapolis, and I like the matchup for T against Cincinnati. So give me Rashi, T. Higgins, and Travion Henderson in this specific scenario. Would you roll with Dak or Daniel Jones this week in 6-point passing touchdowns? I would rather roll with Dak. Think I like the matchup just slightly better, and I think I like Dak's upside just slightly better with the offense he has. What do we got here? Hey, man, hope all is well. Full PPR, pick one. Quarterback Burrow if he plays. T-Law, Bryce Young in a great matchup. Yeah, for me, it's Joe Burrow. It's Joe Burrow. I think it's a good matchup for him if he plays. I'm assuming he's healthy. I'm not benching Burrow for those options. Even though it's a good matchup for Bryce, and Bryce is coming off of a good game, it's Joe Burrow for me. So, appreciate it. Hope all is well with you as well. Kevin says, Ayuk is down bad. And that is for sure. Ayuk is down bad right now, man. But he's been down bad. It's crazy the fall off that he's had over the last 2 years, it feels like now. Really hope Godwin can come back 80% of his peak. That would be nice. We'll see what happens this week. Sounds like he's going to be trending towards playing or going to be playing. How much, I don't know. But I think he's a player that definitely is probably going to be needed down the stretch. I'd like to see, same thing, his teammate. I'd like to see Bucky back in the lineup and see Bucky kind of take advantage of that really, really nice fantasy playoff schedule that he has. Henderson and Stevenson or Hendo and Emmanuel Wilson if he plays. I think I would rather go with Henderson and Emmanuel Wilson to diversify it if Josh Jacobs is out. If Josh Jacobs is in, you play both of the running backs for the Patriots, but I think I'd rather diversify and go Hendo and Wilson if Josh Jacobs is out. Steven says, Montgomery, Sean Tucker, or Wandell in a half PPR, pick one. This one, I'm going to lean with Wandell Robinson. He's the highest one in my rankings right now. I do have David Montgomery over Sean Tucker in my rankings this week for the running backs, but I think when I'm looking at Wandell and his matchup, I just like it more. Wandell snuck into like my top 15-ish range for wide receivers this week. So like, Jameis Winston throwing the football, should be a pretty decent game there against the Lions. So they're going to have to throw the football a lot. I think I'm going to go with Wandell. In that same 8-team league, I think the wide receiver room is fine, to be honest, that I sent earlier. I only need 2 every week once Bucky's back. I hear you. I just think when I'm looking at like Egbuka, Metcalf, Flowers, Waddle, J-Mo, there's fine guys. Diggs is there too. There's fine guys. I just think in an 8-team league, you need to have superstar difference makers, and I don't view any of those guys as such. Like, I would want to have, and I know it sounds obvious, but you would want to have a guy like Rashi, a guy like JSN, a guy like Puka, a guy like Amon-Ra. Like, I'm looking for those players to plug into my lineup every week, and I don't think you have those. Egbuka is going to be good the rest of the way, and I do think that Diggs should be solid. Waddle, too, I like his playoff schedule. You just have to pick the matchups, and I think there's going to be more variance. You don't have a plug-and-play wide receiver one. But I think with all the running backs you have, you could have one. So that's kind of just where I was looking at. I mean, you asked where you could upgrade. That's where I think you could upgrade. What up, Tingley? Appreciate you. Happy Friday to you. Nick says, redraft league, locked up a playoff spot. Thank you for all your guidance this season. Well, thank you for tuning in, man. I appreciate you. Currently in first at 9-2. Regular season winner gets a cash prize. I like that. Our leagues, we do the same thing where you get most points on the season gets cash. The best record in the regular season gets cash. And then we do cash prizes for first, second, and third place. And we also do a knockout tournament every week, which basically what you do is you go into the year, you have 10 or 12 teams, depending on the league size that you have, but you have 10 or 12 teams. The lowest scoring team gets knocked out every week. You go until there's one team left, and the winner of that knockout tournament gets a cash prize as well. I won the knockout tournament in the league. I have the most points right now in my league. and I'm hoping to get the best record, so I get 3 cash prizes before we even get to playoffs. That would be really nice, but we'll see. I don't want to jinx it too much. I still got to get a couple wins if I want the best record, but the points are looking nice for me right now. And like I said, that KO is already locked in. What do we got? I have KC and Pittsburgh defense for the playoffs. Also Green Bay. Do I drop Green Bay and play one of those defense to get a stash, or do I roll out Green Bay to try and clinch the cash? That's a good question. I think for me, if you have an opportunity to get some money right now, I'm just playing Green Bay to get the cash. I'm playing for the money, and then I'll figure out a stash next week. Like, that's probably what I'm going to do. But I have Green Bay as a top 5 defense in my rankings this week. So, yeah, just give me Green Bay. Let's get the cash, and let's roll it out and figure out the stash next week. AK says Waddle, Igbuka are must-starts every week. I think in 10 and 12-man leagues. But, again, I just think the 8-man league, it's not as safe. Flex Sean Tucker or Dunze in PPR. I would rather roll out Odunze. I still think Rachaad White's going to be involved. I know that everybody wants Sean Tucker to be the guy, but I feel like we've seen this story before. I'm willing to be wrong, though. We'll see. No one's giving those elite guys any budget guys you could recommend at wide receiver. I think that's what you have. You have the budget guys at the wide receiver room. So if nobody's giving them, then that looks like that's what your playoff roster is. Is this the Krusty Krab? No, this is Patrick. You're right about 8-man leagues. I have Puka, Bijan, Igbuka, Hampton, and Drake London all drafted. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is 8-man leagues, studs over depth all day long. That's just how you got to go. Can you win with depth? Yes, it has to go the right way. Variance has to go the right way. Injuries have to go the right way. But in an 8-man league, even 10-man leagues a little bit, studs. Consolidate. Try and get the best players possible for the highest weekly floor, the highest upside in your lineups every week. Your thoughts of dropping Worthy or Washington for Alec Pierce? Full PPR, thanks. I'm assuming this is Malik Washington or maybe Parker Washington. I guess it doesn't really matter either way. I'm dropping either Malik or Parker for Alec Pierce. I would do that, yes. It's good, A-Rod. Appreciate you being here, man. Frank says, I got an offer to trade away Achane for Brian Thomas Jr. in Dynasty. I think I'd rather have Achane, man. I'd rather have Achane at this point. I think you could make an argument a younger or rebuilding, retooling team maybe could lean BTJ. But I still think Achane's pretty safe, in the short term. So even the intermediate term, like the next 2-year window, I still think Achane's going to be fine. So I'd rather just have Achane here. Washington, Tootin, or Adonai Mitchell in half PPR. Give me Tootin, man. Tootin's the play. Better tight end start, Ferguson or Otten in full PPR. Currently, right now in my rankings, I have Ferguson as my tight end 7. I have Otten as my tight end 12. So both of them are tight end 1s for me this week. I just have Ferguson as a better play. All right. Looks like we're all caught up, which is good. We haven't been able to be caught up over the last couple of weeks. So it's good to see that we are. Keep throwing those questions in the chat, man. I'm happy to keep answering them. And, we'll keep trying to help you guys win here this week. A-Rod says, I need your thoughts on who to play as my running back 2 and who to play in the flex. My options are Kyron, Javonte Williams, Diggs, and Rome. Okay, so really, if we're looking for the running back 2 spot first, between Kyron and Javonte Williams, right now in my rankings, I have Javonte Williams as my running back 11. I have Kyron as my running back 13. So I'm going to lean with Javonte Williams as the running back. The other play would be, I think for me at least, probably between Kyron and Diggs. And I do have Diggs right now as a top 7 play. So I think I'm going to go with Diggs. Give me Diggs and give me Javonte this week. Johnny says, start Jared Goff versus the Giants or stack Jacoby Brissett with Michael Wilson versus the Jaguars. Yeah, I'm not playing with the stack just to stack it. I do have both of these guys as top 10 options, but I have Jared Goff higher. He's in my top 5 right now. So give me Jared Goff versus the Giants. I'm not chasing the stack and just starting a lesser option because I have the stack. Ramondre Stevenson's on the wire. He deserves a bench spot. Yeah, I mean, I think he also is probably worthy of a pickup. We've seen a little bit of a breakout from Travion Henderson. Anybody who thinks that Stevenson is going to be gone, even when he's healthy, is a little beside themselves. That's not the case. I do expect more Henderson now that we've seen a little bit of a breakout, but Stevenson's still going to be involved, and the playoff schedule for them is great. Also, you know, we always talk about have a guy like Henderson in case Stevenson gets hurt. It goes both ways. If Henderson gets banged up, Stevenson's going to be, you know, a bell cow in a good schedule the rest of the way. So I agree. He's worth a roster spot, should be picked up. Just traded a 2026 and 2027, both mid to late firsts, and Jatavion Sanders for Mahomes in a 27 third in a Superflex 1.5 PPR league. Fair value, W for getting Mahomes to pair with Lamar and McCarthy. Yeah, I mean, if you're trading 2 mid to late first, I'm all for it to go get Mahomes in a Superflex. This is definitely more than fine value. I'm definitely excited to do a trade like this. We just did a video today over on the Dynasty Nerds channel where we were talking about our quarterback rankings and stuff over the next couple of years in comparison to what we have seen since 2020. 2026 quarterbacks got me feeling a little uneasy. I'm not a big fan of what we're seeing in 2026. That can change. I haven't dug into like all 22 tape and film grades and things like that. And I think Mendoza right now is probably the number one guy, but the 26 quarterback class has me feeling a little shaky. Feels a little reminiscent of a 2022, 2023 hybrid, you know, with Bryce Young, A. Rich, Kenny Pickett, CJ Stroud. You know, you could have a hybrid of those classes. Does that get you super excited? Probably not. So if you can go get a Mahomes and it costs you 2 mid to lates, one of them being 2027. I love the 27 class, but I'm all for it to get Mahomes. What do we have here? Sorry, I didn't mean to skip you, KJ. He says the better wide receivers to start this week: Alec Pierce, Andre Yoshavash, Luther Burden, or Jalen Coker in a full PPR. Right now, I'm going to tell you, I think just off the top of my head, if I can remember correctly, Alec Pierce is the highest for me. And I have him over all of those guys. I have him over Yoshavash, I have him over Burden, I have him over Coker. So I would be playing with Alec Pierce this week. I think he's definitely the better play. We've seen him, you know, more involved over the last couple of weeks. It's a tough matchup, but I'm still playing him. Anthony says Mac Jones will get another starting gig over the 2026 quarterbacks, in my opinion. I don't disagree. I think Mac Jones right now is a better bet than most of those 2026 quarterbacks. So I don't disagree at all. A-Rod says, what are your thoughts on London rest of season for redraft? They may, or they say he may be back next week, so let's just assume he is for your hypothetical situation. What do you think? I think I'm ejecto-cito, cuz. I think London rest of season, I mean, let's just see. I have him currently right now in my rest of season rankings as, hold on, hold, wide receiver 18 in my rest of season rankings right now. Now that is baking in the injury at the moment, but if you can sell and move on, I'm definitely okay with that. I think T. Higgins is interesting. I think Devonta Smith is a player that you could down tier to, get an upgrade somewhere else that I still like better rest of season. George Pickens, Devonta Adams, Justin Jefferson. We're talking about a redraft too. So, you know, those are all guys that I'd probably be looking at right now over London rest of season with that injury. So don't have him very high. It is because of the injury. Also don't love the fact that Kirk O'Chains is back in the mix, and it hasn't looked good the last few times that he's been back in the mix. What do we got here? Anthony says legendary Sanders or Geno. I know we have reached this point in the season. Yeah, I just said that I had Sanders so low. I had him in like the 27 range. I'm going Geno over Sanders. I don't expect it to be great for Shador this week. Yeah, I can't play him. Should I trade away Rice for Genty in a dynasty? I would rather have Rice long term than Genty, unless you have a stacked, wide receiver room and you need running back. But if I have to like pick one over the other, I think right now, I'd rather have Rice, just from a dynasty roster construction standpoint of prioritizing wide receiver over running back. And I don't expect this Raiders line to get significantly better in the next 1 to 2 years. Maybe 2 years. That's pushing it a while, but one more season, I think it's going to be another bad year of offensive line play. They could improve it, but it's still going to be bad. That Raiders team was not in position to draft a running back in the top 10. Let's just be real. I don't know why they did it. They did. I kind of wish Genty would have been drafted by the Jaguars with Liam Cohen, or I kind of wish that Genty would have went to the Bears and been the number one there for the Bears instead of them drafting Loveland. But there you go. Flex position, full PPR, Kamara, Worthy, Tootin, Ferguson, pick one. In a full PPR, I kind of want to go Ferguson, man. I think he's the play that I would probably trust the most this week. I can't trust Kamara. Worthy's meh. Tootin, we saw some good things. I kind of want to see him one more time. I'm going Ferguson. Anthony says, would you accept Shakir plus Downs for Dowdle on a rebuilding team? Yes, I would. I would rather have Shakir and Downs on a rebuild than Dowdle. I think that's a good, it's not a lot, but it's a solid payoff for Dowdle, who's a player that's just risen in value. Thoughts on Michael Wilson this week? Do you think he comes back down to earth? Well, he's not going to repeat what he did last week. I don't expect that to happen. And if anybody does expect that to happen, get a grip. I think for me right now, I have him as a player who's in my top 20 as a wide receiver. I have him as my wide receiver 18 right now. Should be a solid week. Wide receiver 2 week for him again. But if you're expecting last week, pump the brakes. Let's see. Would you trade away Ashton Genty for Chris Olave? My other running backs would be Rico Dowdle and DeAndre Swift. No, I'd rather have Ashton Genty here. I think there's a pretty significant value gap between a guy like Chris Olave and a guy like Rashee Rice that we just talked about. So I would rather have Genty here. Jets need to sign Mac ASAP. Do we trust the Jets to be the team that, helps Mac bounce back? I don't. But it might be better. I think the Jets end up going for a guy like Fernando Mendoza. They might be the team that rips Fernando Mendoza off the board, which I don't think is horrible. But I have a hard time trusting anybody in that green and white. I'll be honest. Anybody that plays QB there, I have a hard time trusting it. If you remember, we spoke on how I said I messed up my rebuild by not being patient, but there is a chance that I could get my 2026 first-round pick back if I did Caleb and Addison for Penix, Garrett Wilson in my first. I'm pushing for Tetaroa instead, but what are your thoughts? It's gotta... Yeah, I don't like it. I think the value gap in Dynasty between Caleb and Penix is probably a country mile. And I get it. You're getting a first-round pick back, and you're going from, Addison to Garrett Wilson. If you get to T-Mac, I don't think it improves it that much. I think I prefer... They're close. They're in the same tier for me. I think T-Mac and Garrett Wilson. So I don't think it really changes the value too much. It's just a matter of preference there. I think the gap between Caleb and Penix is too much. But I am saying this as somebody who has actively never really been in on Michael Penix either. So, yeah, I don't really like Michael Penix. I don't think he's that good. I probably wouldn't do it. I'd rather still have Caleb and Addison. Playoff spot is secured. I have a chance to tank the first round pick I traded for. Is it petty to tank the pick? I have to try to get the one-on-one. I mean, it's your job. As long as you're doing it within, like, I would say, like, as long as you're following bylaws and as long as you're, like, not doing anything that's, like, illegal, I think for fantasy, as far as, like, your bylaws and things like that, then I have no issue with you just trying to get the highest pick possible. Everybody tries to do it, whether I am actively trading away players to improve my draft pick or you're doing whatever you need to do. I mean, don't, like, bench all of your starters to make your pick better. I guess I don't really know, but as long as you're following the rules, I don't think anybody should have an issue with it. Genty on my Broncos would have been insane. It would have been awesome. It would have been really, really good. How about trading away Kraft for Laporta and Wandell for Genty? It's tight end. Kraft or Laporta and Wandell for Genty. It's tight end premium. Yeah, I'd happily trade away one of the tight ends and Wandell for Genty. Tight ends still replaceable. I think Kraft and Laporta, as good as they are, they're not the upper echelon of tight end. So yeah, I'm always willing to do that. And even when I get to the upper echelon of tight end, even in tight end premium, sometimes I'm looking for ways to tear down. So yeah, I'm not opposed to this at all. Dynasty, he said 0.75. That's more than a normal, but still, I'm still willing to do it. Quarterbacks are Love, Purdy, Stroud, Daniel Jones. Any buy low QBs you think I should aim for to upgrade one of these guys? And do you think Brissett has long-term value in Dynasty? I do not think Brissett has long-term value in Dynasty, but I do. I think you have a couple of the buy lows already on your roster. Purdy was one of my favorite buy lows for about 2 months in Dynasty. Loved him as a buy low. I want to throw out a name, but I fear I'm going to look like a homer. I think you have a really good opportunity to buy low on JJ McCarthy right now because the narrative is that he's done immediately. And if people are really panic selling, I'm okay scooping. I also think guys like Cam Ward could be a good buy low if you believe he can get it back together. Maybe a guy like maybe a guy like Goff is still a little bit undervalued. Those would be like some names that would pop up for me. But I think if you're trying to like catch falling, like really low dips, it's like Cam Ward and JJ McCarthy for young guys that are probably pretty low. Already dropped Parker Washington for Alec Pierce. Now flex, full PPR, Ferguson or Pierce. I'm going to go with Ferguson over Pierce. What do you know about a country mile? Look, man, I might know a thing or two about a country mile. Didn't spend a ton of time growing up living there. I was born out where there's a lot of country miles, and my grandpa owns a lot of farmland, and we used to do a lot of stuff on the farmland. I moved to the city when I was about 5 years old in Las Vegas, but I spent a lot of summers out there on those farms, and so I know a thing or two about a country mile. But we'll see, man. Who would you start in PPR, Tet or Judkins? This is a really good question. I think for me right now, if I'm looking at Judkins constructively and I'm looking at Tetero McMillan, I think I'm going to lean with T-Mac right now. I have him as a top 12 play. I don't have Judkins in my top 12 for running back, so I'm going to go with T-Mac right now. I like the matchup against San Francisco this week, and Shanahan's been pumping them up a little bit. Which lineup do you like more? May, CMC, Achane, Jettas, Rice, Amon-Ra, Pitts, and Olave, or Stafford, Saquon, Gainwell, Puka, CD, Waddle, Bowers, and McBride in a non-tight end premium? Yeah, I like the May, Achane, Rice, Amon-Ra. I like that matchup better. or that team better. It's more well-rounded, and I think you got a lot higher upside. Saquon and Gainwell at that running back position there feels really risky. And good wide receivers with Puka and CD, but I think you have just as good wide receivers with Jettas, Rice, and Amon-Ra. So I like that first lineup better. Do I trade away Amon-Ra and Rico for Gibbs and Bucky? My other wide receivers are CD and Justin Jefferson. I think right now, if I have to make a decision today, Bucky makes me nervous still. Until we see Bucky in the lineup, it makes me so nervous, man. I think the value is on the Gibbs and Bucky side, but it's way riskier. It's way riskier. Do you like Dak and Danny Dimes rest of the season? If not, who would you drop and try and target? JD5, Darnold, Purdy, and Burrow are on waivers. I do like both of them rest of season, but if we were looking at my rest of season quarterback rankings, I do have Daniel Jones as my quarterback 5 rest of season. Dak is my quarterback 7. And then the other guys that you mentioned lower than that. So I guess if we're talking about those two versus everyone else, I would rather have Dak and Danny Dimes rest of season. The only other guy that I'd really think about pulling up would be Burrow. But I think I'm still going to go Dak and Danny Dimes right now. All right. The first lineup is mine and the second is the other top team in the league. I'm scared I'm going to lose. Get it out now so you don't have to, get it out in playoffs. I had a team. I think I told I might have been talking to you, A-Rod, in the Pick'em chat where I had a 20-0 dynasty team. We play a league median every week. So you get a matchup versus your player matchup, and then you get a league median matchup as well. And perfect season, lost last week. I was 20-0. Now I'm 21-1. I lost my matchup, beat the median. The guy who I played had the second highest score on the week. I had the third highest score on the week. Ended up losing my perfect season, but you know what? I thought about it. I'd rather get that L out now than rather in the playoffs. So that's the way I'm thinking about it. Frank says, should I trade away 2 seconds and Tootin for Pearsall and Vidal for handcuff of Hampton? No, I would not do that. I would rather have the 2 seconds and Tootin instead of Pearsall and Vidal. One quarterback, I have Dak. I want to wait till 27 to draft a QB. That sounds okay or crazy streaming backup QB? I don't think that sounds crazy. Honestly, what you could do is, it's just a backup. It's just a backup QB. You can find streamable options. The rest, I just hit the lever on my thing. Hold on. Let me pull that up. Did you see that? I sunk down because I hit the lever. What was I saying? Something about streaming QB. Yeah, I think I'd rather stream the QB for the backup. I don't think it's crazy. 27 should have some really good quarterbacks, especially if a couple of the guys that I think might go back, Ty Simpson, Donta Moore, Lenore Sellers. If a couple of those guys go back, 27's quarterback class is going to get even better. Makes me think they might double him more. Maybe overthinking it. Might go T-Mac. They could. But he's kind of elite, man. I kind of like T-Mac a lot. B Money says 21-1. What's the team? It's got to have JT. It does have JT. I will tell you, the roster is crazy. It is the best, by far the best dynasty roster I've ever constructed in my entire life. Now, given it's a 10-man league, it's one of my 10-man leagues. I have a mix of 10 and 12s. So the roster does feel a little bit better when I name it because it's 10-man. But let's just go through some of the players on here, dude. Quarterback room. It's a super flex tight end premium. Start 10. We do 40-man rosters. So it's super deep. I have Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, Jared Goff, and J.J. McCarthy as the QBs. My running backs are Jonathan Taylor, Jahmyr Gibbs, Josh Jacobs, Tyler Algier, Chuba Hubbard, Tyrone Tracy, Isaiah Pacheco, a couple other guys. Really doesn't matter. It's just been freaking Jonathan Taylor, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Josh Jacobs all year. The wide receivers are Puka, Amon-Ra, Justin Jefferson, Jalen Waddle, Ladd McConkey, Brian Thomas, Rashee Rice, Ricky Pearsall, and Luther Burden. My tight end is Trey McBride, and I have 2 first-round picks next year as well. Who the hell let me get 2 firsts? I don't know. But I have that team with 2 future firsts. I'm feeling real good about that roster. Brandon says, how many finesses, though? I mean, enough for you to leave the league, Brandon. Enough for you to leave the league. Look, he was one of my league mates, man, and he bowed out. He said, nobody's beating your team, so I'm bowing out. I ain't going to keep spending my money losing to you every year. Respect, though. If I don't get the 101 for 26, should I try to sell the pick and pick up an extra 27 first? I would absolutely be okay with that. I think the 27 pick is going to be, in my opinion right now, in 2026, I feel very good about 5 to 6 players at the moment. Like, I'm more than comfortable spending my first round pick to draft about 6 of these guys today. There's still a lot of time. Senior Bowl, there's still going to be the combine and pro days and all of these things for us to get more comfortable with the class. Spoiler alert, your boy just got credentials today to be at the Senior Bowl live in person. So I will be there watching these players in person with my own two eyes at practice. So that'll be fun. Probably try and make a vlog out of that as well. But Senior Bowl, all these good things. I think after the 5 or 6 guys, probably 6 guys right now, I'd probably just move out to 27 if I can. And I'd be willing to take, a couple picks loss, go from the 107 to the 110 in 2027 just to go into the next class, because I think that class is just deeper. So that's probably what I would do. B Money says, nah, that roster is nuts. Elite trades. Been some really good trades. I also drafted my fucking ass off too. A lot of those players I just drafted. So I did get a few of them, but I drafted my ass off in some of these rookie drafts. Full PPR, I need 1 quarterback. Love, Caleb, or Darnold. I'm going to go with... Shit, man. Love has not been very... I have him on a few teams. It hasn't been comfortable plugging him into the lineup. I'm going with Caleb, man. I'm playing Caleb against the Steelers. He's going to be my QB this week. Said, really just need running backs? Okay, that makes this a little bit more interesting, because I think the 26th class at running back, it's Jeremiah Love and then a bunch of everybody else. So if it's not Jeremiah Love, I don't want it. And 2027's running backs are looking weak. It's the weakest part of that entire class. The wide receivers look studly. The quarterbacks look deep. The tight end even looks decent. But I think the running back position looks bad, man. So I'd probably go with... I might even try and trade them for younger running backs. Like, try and go buy a Genty. Try and go buy a Judkins with 1 or 2 of those picks if it's not Jeremiah Love. Name that league, Andrew Mott. 10-man BTJ was probably the late first, early second. He was. I got him in the late first. Let me tell you the last 2 rookie drafts in that league, just for fun. I did a video about this on the channel too, this team particularly, because I did a productive struggle startup. So I tried to lose a little bit in the first year right out of the startup, collected a bunch of draft picks, and then I just built it after that. So the rookie draft last year in 2024, I ended up drafting BTJ at the 109. I got Bo Nix at the 205, who's not on the team. I traded him. JJ McCarthy at the 106. I got Trey Benson, Ladd McConkey at the 201, Ricky Pearsall at the 209. So I did pretty good in that draft. In 2023, I ended up drafting Jahmyr Gibbs at the 102, and I had the 101, which was Bijan. So I went Bijan and Gibbs in there, traded Bijan, unfortunately, to upgrade my quarterback position, but I needed it. Went Bryce Young in that draft, went Sam Laporta in that draft, It's been a lot of trades, man. Like I said, a ton of them. But I've drafted my ass off over the last couple of years. And in 2025, I didn't really have that many draft picks, but I still landed Luther Burden and Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt at the 5'10", who I ended up selling for a second-round pick. So ended up doing pretty well for myself, man, through the drafts, getting guys like Gibbs and Bijan and Bo Nix and Ladd and BTJ and using a lot of those as like trade bait. What do we got? B Money says Tate, Lemon, Tyson, pretty fire players too. Yeah, those are the guys that I like, man. I like Jeremiah Love. I think Tate, Tyson, and Lemon, all of those guys are really good. I'm a fan. Excuse me. I'm a fan of Kenyon Sadiq at tight end. I think he's solid. Fernando Mendoza, I think, is a solid QB. But I probably would take all those skill position players over Fernando right now. Maybe not Sadiq, but definitely the wide receivers and Love over him. I also like Justice Haynes too. I think he's solid. But I think after those guys, it's Tate, Lemon, Tyson, and Love. Those are my top 4, and those are like, I would absolutely happily spend the top 4 pick to draft all of those guys. And after that, we'll see what happens with landing spots and things like that. Alenda says, I need one wide receiver in a full PPR. You got DJ, Lockett, or Slayton. I think this is kind of, I mean, we're kind of in the depths here. I'm probably going with DJ Moore, though. He's probably the play. I have him as my wide receiver 32 this week. It's probably better than those other guys. Galaxy, what's up, man? Says, would you trade London and Odunze for Hampton and Jettas? Is this a dynasty or a redraft? Because in a redraft, I would rather have Hampton and Jettas. In a dynasty, it's closer. I think I still lean Hampton and Jettas. So I think I'm just going Hampton and Jettas no matter what. If redraft, absolutely. What young running back would you trade? And he says redraft. So yeah, I'd go Hampton and Jettas. What young running back would you trade an early first for? I have Henderson. Great question. Let's look at the list. If I'm trying to stay young, you know, I'm trading a draft pick, I would probably be trying to grab... I'm just going to list the names. You're obviously going to have to throw more in for some of these guys, but obviously Bijan and Gibbs, you are okay drafting them. I'm still okay trading for Achane. He's 24. Still think he has a lot of shelf life with him too. Hampton's a player I would try and buy. Judkins would be a player that I would try and buy. I still think Bucky's interesting as a player to buy at 23 years old. Probably a little bit suppressed in value right now too. And if you're rebuilding, he's a player that I think is better for next year anyways. Outside of those guys, I don't think we said Genty, but Genty would be one of them. Those would be the names of the running backs that I'd be looking at. I think Jeremiah Love, for me, when it's all said and done, is probably going to end up landing somewhere. I think right off the rip, he's probably going to be a top 7 to 10-ish dynasty running back for me. And I think he's a stud. So he would be a guy that I'd be trying to draft if you don't get the 101 or the 102. I think you have an argument that he could go 102 if somebody likes Tyson or Mendoza in a super flex. Maybe somebody gets hyped with the QBs. But yeah, I think I'd be trying to trade for one of those guys if I can't get Love. Start 2 with Kamara, Sean Tucker, or Hunt. Yeah. I got Kamara the highest with Hunt the second highest, and then I have Tucker after them. So I'm going to go with the other two. Sean Tucker gets a really tough matchup this week, and I still think that Rachaad White's going to be involved. All right, folks, we are at about the last 5 minutes here. What is it? It's 8:55. We go to about 9. So I'm going to call last call here for the questions. I figured when we set that goal of 100 likes for the gritty, when you guys asked for it, I figured it would be very hard to obtain. Rightfully so, because I ain't just grittying it on camera for fun. Because I don't know how to gritty at all. As a Vikings fan, you know, maybe I should be ashamed to say that, but I cannot gritty. I think it's probably the tone of the skin tone here, but that's probably why I can't do it. the end of the day, though, we are very far from that. Maybe one day we'll get to it. But I appreciate you guys for being here. Hit me with those last second questions before we wrap this one up. No problem, man. I appreciate you being here and hanging out and chatting. It means a lot to me. I enjoy spending some time with you guys a couple times a week and answering those questions for you. Hopefully, we've been helping you guys win some matchups this year, and hopefully you're all doing pretty well in your leagues outside of maybe some injuries. But Ken says London is out. Would you play Booty or Myers or Burden or Leggett? Let's see. Got to reference my rankings because I think this is the first time we've talked about both Leggett and Booty tonight. I got Myers as my wide receiver 31. Burden is my wide receiver 41. Booty is my wide receiver 54. And Leggett is my wide receiver 47. So I guess the short answer there is it would be Jacoby Myers. Jacoby Myers would be the play. No problem, Camden. Brandon says Tyson can gritty a little bit better than me, though. I think I definitely have more of the dad vibes, the unk vibes than I think Tyson does. He's the young guy, man. That's for the folks at home, that's my little brother. He can gritty. I got unk tendencies right now. Both of my brothers call me unk, so I don't know why. They just say I'm the old guy. Candace says, have a good night, man. Appreciate you, Camden. And Frank says, by the end of the season, I'll be number one in the pick and pool. Facts. Frank, you better relax, because I've been number one since week 1. Maybe somebody got ahead of me for like 1 week or 2 weeks there, but I've been winning, man. I said you guys had to come correct if you wanted to beat me, and I've been winning. So y'all better come correct if you want to try and snatch that number 1 spot. And don't forget, we got League FFB merch for the people who do finish top 3 and some money. So hopefully you guys can do it. I'll take the money if you guys don't want to win it, but you got to beat me. You got to beat me. Brandon says, man's unk now. It's a shame, man. It's a shame. But it's the life cycle. You should know very well, Brandon, about being unk. You've been unk for a long time in these leagues. So, look, folks, that's all I got for you guys today. I appreciate everybody who's been here. Do me the favor, hit the like button if you haven't hit it already. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel and go join our free Discord. But if you want to go above and beyond, you want to show this channel some love, I would strongly, some love, if you want to show this channel some love, I would strongly encourage you to go try out Underdog. Underdog is the partner of this channel, and new customers who've never signed up and used promo code LeagueFFB and play $5 in the app will get $100 in bonus funds just by using that promo code and playing. So please go do it. Strongly encourage it. Like I said, it does support the show, but I promise you too, you'll have some fun. I do a lot of best ball drafts on that in the summer. There's pick'ems that you can play right now. I know that they're loading up the Thanksgiving promos for next week. We'll have more information on that here later, I think in the next couple of days. But they're going to be loading it up with promos. So right now is a good time to go sign up, League FFB, if you want to check it out and support the show. Frank says, look out, it's my money. So I will be waiting to see it. But until then, man, I have nothing else for you guys today. We will do a Dynasty Trade Show tomorrow. I know you guys love it. We love it. Dynasty Trade Show tomorrow. And Start Sit Stream on Sunday. Nothing else for you. I'll see you on the next one. Till then.